Hello and welcome to my kitchen. I'm Judith, and today I'm going to do one of the favorite dinners in this house. It's chicken with Salsa Verde. So for that, we have chicken thighs, bone in, skin on. If you prefer them boneless and skinless, that would be perfectly fine. I just like them this way, and I think it has more flavor. And I have some Salsa Verde that I made. This one has a little more chili in it than I usually use, but I think the next one will have even more. I'm finding that they're not very spicy, really. And that's about it for the chicken dish. The rest of it, we're going to do a Salsa Fresca, which is tomatoes, green peppers, cucumber, lime, red onion, cilantro, and we're going to do Mexican rice. Now, I did a recipe for this before, but I'm doing a half version today. So I only have half a cup of rice, and I think about 35 to 40 grams of black beans that I've soaked overnight. And then we're going to put some tomato in. So I usually use a whole can of tomatoes, but with half a recipe, I don't want to open a can of tomatoes, so I'm probably going to use either fresh tomato or some passata. So let me start first on making the salsa, because then it can sit and marinate on itself and get yummy while we do the rest. Okay, for our salsa, and I'm not going to bore you with chopping the vegetables. You know how to chop a vegetable. We want everything in a fairly fine dice. Not microscopic, but small enough that you're not going to be getting a mouthful of one thing in a bite. So I have half a green pepper, one Roma tomato, about 6 inches of English cucumber, a couple of slices of red onion, and a handful of cilantro, small handful of cilantro. So now we're just going to put all this in a bowl. Excuse me a moment. There we go, everything in the bowl. Rinse that off. So now we are going to do the lime. If you happen to have one of these fancy juicers, do put the lime in that way. Not cut side up, bottom side up. And this is half a lime, which should be plenty. There we go. We want maybe half a teaspoon, half a teaspoon of salt. And half a teaspoon of ground cumin. Actually, let's half a teaspoon. And then we need to stir and mix together well. And of course, as always, give it a taste. I can never stress how important it is to taste what you're making. Okay. The salt and the cumin are very prominent, but that will calm down after it marinates for a while. So we're just going to cover that and put it in the refrigerator until we're ready to serve. And then we will taste it again to make sure It doesn't need anything else. So for our chicken, we have 4 chicken thighs. These are bone-in, skin-on. You can use skin, boneless, if you prefer. And we have a jar of Salsa Verde. This one seems to be rather thin. Give it a good stir. And we're going to just pour it over our chicken. And it was a 250 ml jar, so it will do more than 4 chicken thighs, but that's what we have. And then we want some Monterey Jack Cheese, grated. It's gonna go on top of each chicken thigh. So that's about 3/4 of a cup of cheese. And you could use less. And you could use whatever cheese you prefer. Although you do want one that's very melty. You don't want to use like the traditional Mexican cheese, the queso, as it's not melty. There we go. So this is going to go in the oven at 350 degrees for probably 45 minutes. Just until the chicken's cooked and the cheese is melted and browned. For our rice, we are going to start with a couple of garlic cloves, which we're going to chop. Ooh, that one's not good. There. Let me get another one here. Yeah, sometimes the garlic cloves just aren't good. Peel the cloves. Yeah, peel your garlic cloves and chop them finely. Those aside. Then we're going to dice about half an onion. And you do want a fairly fine dice. String bits up there. Now my recipe does say jalapeno. I did not buy a jalapeno, so to replace that I do have a jalapeno hot sauce. And this one is really good. Like, it's not screaming hot horrible. If you're not accustomed to extreme spicy, this is a good sauce. So now we got the pot heating up. So let's start the rice. Let me get about a tablespoon of olive oil in there, or you could just use vegetable oil. I have 2 cloves of garlic chopped and about a quarter of an onion. As I said, I'm only doing half of my usual recipe here. Normally I would put in jalapeno pepper. I totally forgot to buy one. So that's where the jalapeno hot sauce comes in. We will add this later to make up for the fact that I forgot the pepper. Then we're going to add half cup of rice, little toasty. We do want to toast the rice a little bit. So we're going to add some salt here. Just a tiny bit. That's probably about a 1/4 teaspoon. And I'm just using basmati rice. Just any long grain white rice will work. So we do want the rice to color a little bit. We just don't want it to get scary brown. And if it starts to stick, add a little more vegetable oil. Okay, and honestly, don't even need to make it brown. Then we're going to add our half cup vegetable stock. 1 cup tomato passata. If you're using canned tomatoes, it is 250 milliliters of tomato. We'll add our beans, and that was about 35 to 40 grams of black beans soaked overnight. Now we're going to add our seasoning. And as I said, we didn't have the jalapeno, so we're going to add about a tablespoon of the jalapeno hot sauce. And we want some cumin and some salt. Oh, we're going to add salt. Where's the cumin? So half a teaspoon of cumin. Half a tablespoon of, it's probably more closer to a tablespoon of chopped cilantro. Give everything a really good stir. Get all the herbs in there. And we're going to bring that to a boil and put the lid on. We just want it to start bubbling. We don't want it to actually boil. Now I have this on a fairly low heat, so it's going to take a bit for it to start to bubble. But I don't want to turn it up because I don't want to burn it. Oh, there we go. We are starting to bubble. So now we're going to put the lid on and turn the heat down just a little. I'll turn it down to where I normally cook rice. That may not be high enough, but we will check it in about 20 minutes. Okay, 20 minutes later, I'm going to give it, oh, yeah, it's doing well. It's a little wet, that's okay, because we did use the dried beans. Let's give it a taste. Mostly we want to check the cooked level of the beans, so a little crunchy, but not raw. So this is good. I'm going to turn the heat off and put the lid on and leave them about another 10 minutes. If the beans were still super crunchy, you might want to add a little more liquid and let them boil a little longer. Okay, we've given it another 10 minutes with the heat turned off, and it's looking lovely. Wonderful looking rice here. A little taste here with the bean. Okay. We'll leave the lid on until we're ready to serve, but that is perfect. Chicken and salsa verde, a little bit of Mexican rice and some salsa fresca. Ooh, and yes, I bought chips. Let's give it a taste. That's actually quite wonderful and spicy. But if things aren't spicy enough for you, there's this wonderful jalapeno hot sauce. It's not screaming hot. It is wonderful. I put it on if it's not hot enough, but this one I made with 2 jalapeno chilies in the sauce, and it's great. We have another taste and see what we're doing here. Yep, well, that is tasty. Chip and some salsa. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed it, if it gives you an idea of what to make different for your dinner some night, give it a like, hit that thumbs up, subscribe, hit the thumbs up, hit the bell icon, and I'll see you again soon with a new recipe. Thank you so much for watching.